you're going to be boring. If you're not creative, you're going to find it difficult to hold relationships together. If you're not creative, sometimes you're going to get picked over for jobs that you were qualified to perform, but people underestimated your ability because you were not well presented. If you're not creative, you're not going to be able to turn situations around because you have a tendency to wait for things to turn around rather than to make them turn around. When you are not creative, you sit back and wait on somebody to save you from something that you could save yourself from. You wait on somebody to color your world the way you would like for it to be. And the problem with that is when you turn the crayons over to somebody else, they don't always color it the way you want to color it. Do you hear what I'm saying? Whether you realize it or not, we were created by a creator to be creative. I said we were created by a creator to be creative. The Bible is clear that the Creator created us in his likeness and in his image. Now, if a creator created me in his likeness, I must be creative. Where are my creative people? Make some noise. If you are like me and perhaps millions of other people, creativity comes in waves. It comes in waves. It comes in winds. Seemingly we have moments of creativity. Moments that shine out more profusely, more dynamically, with more effervescence than other moments. In fact, creative people can often become intimidated by their own creativity. Have you ever done anything and felt that wind of creativity hit you? Whether you were writing or building or making a presentation or fixing dinner, you can be creative with food. And you have that creativity hit you and you say, wonder what would happen if I took a little bit of this and threw a little bit of that into it. It turned out, and you said, wow. And then everybody ate it up and everybody loved it and everybody was talking about how good it was. And you walked away and wondered, can I do that again? Wonder, can I play the piano like that again? Wonder, can I sing that song like that again? Wonder, can I do that interview like that again? Wonder, can I make that speech like that again? Because there are moments when you're speaking that something just comes over you and you are at your best. You can feel it. It's like an electrical shock running up and down your spine, and you know you are on. You can do that thing. You got it going on. It's hot and it's right. Until somebody asks you to do it again. Creativity when you're writing a book can be amazing because you can write a book and the wind gets behind you and it's almost like your fingers are on fire and there's no gulf between your brain and your fingers and you're going at it and it's real good and you can create a book that is so awesome that it flies off the shelf. I mean flies off the shelf. It just goes away. It just flies away. It's gone, you know. But then you have to wonder when you sit down and write again, can I do it again? Now, the problem with moments of creativity is that some of us have had moments of creativity that were so amazing. In the back of our mind, we have to live with the intimidation that perhaps my best day is behind me. My best love is behind me. Perhaps my best relationship is behind me. Perhaps my great, amazing moment is gone and I may not ever have that thing back again. The thing, that nebulous thing. In church we call it, we would simply identify it as anointing. And then sometimes we would call it favor. But even beyond church, there are people who have never been to church that understand the push that gets behind you and all your juices get to go and all your adrenaline is pumped up, your mind is on fire and you can say, no, that needs to be over here and this needs to be over there. Creativity. It's amazing. I was teaching Pisca the other day and I was telling them about Beverly. My administrator knows that sometimes I will make a decision at night thinking with night mind And she won't send it out till in the morning, because in the morning, creativity hits me and I've got a better way to do it. And I panic early in the morning and say, hope you haven't sent that out yet. Moments of creativity. I have moments of creativity as a pastor and as a leader. Sometimes I get creative at the weirdest time. Like the Trayvon Martin case. That night when the verdict came in, I couldn't figure out what to do or what to say about it. Early that morning, a creative moment hit me. I knew exactly what to do. And I was calling everybody on the phone while I was driving to church to put together this talk show panel that we put together in about an hour and a half, because I had a creative flash. A creative flash. A creative flash, just like fire. It's a creative flash. So in Scripture, we would call it a word of knowledge, a word of wisdom, where all of a sudden you have a flash and you know exactly what to do about something you didn't know what to do with before. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely incredible. When you are on, you are on. Is there anybody in here that's ever had an on moment? Just on. You were just on. You were just at your zing. Rolling it. You would be a salesman and you hit a creative moment and you can close every deal you're after when you're creative. It just hits you like a flash and you go to the top of your sales department and then you wonder, can I do it again? Well, I want to talk a little bit about the burden and the pressure that often comes on us to do it again, to live up to our own standards or exceed our own standards, to go into that realm of incredibilityness. Not a word, but it worked. Incredibilityness. Didn't that sound nice? You will not find it anywhere in the Bible, anywhere in the dictionary, anywhere in anybody's letter. Incredibilityness. I want to be incredible again. An incredible thinker. An incredible builder, an incredible speaker, an incredible lover, an incredible husband, an incredible father. I want to be incredible again. Anybody want to be incredible again? To beat your own record. To go where none have ever dared gone before. I need some Star Trek music on that, you know. Yeah, that's what we want to go. We want to do it. We're passionate about it. I like stuff that's boom, like that. The ancient Romans and Greeks battled with where creativity comes from. And they thought, particularly the Greeks had what they called daemons. And they thought daemons were what the Greeks described as some sort of deity or some sort of divine being that came along. And they believed that this divine being kind of lived in the walls like a genie. Like a genie. And would come out at different moments and empower the person to do amazing things. And they called it genius. Yeah, they called it genius. The genius at that time didn't refer to a person, but it referred to the influence that came upon the person that enabled them to do brilliant and amazing things. And they loved the concept. They loved the idea. They loved the possibility that this daemon would come out and do amazing things. The Greeks and the Romans had this idea about it. Socrates, history records, said that he was influenced by a daemon, that he would just be doing what he was doing, and all of a sudden he would get this wisdom that he attributed to a daemon, and consequently he was able to think his highest thought, to express himself more acutely, more effectively, more profoundly, more prolifically. He thought, because there was a divine influence that came upon him, of which they call a daemon. And the great thing about this ideology, the powerful thing about it, the liberating thing about it, to those who are creative, it delivers you from the stress of having to do it again. Because if you ascribe to the idea that the Romans and the Greeks did, if I did something absolutely amazing, it wasn't because of me, it was because of this deity that came upon me. So if I don't do it again, it's his fault. How cool is that? I have no responsibility. I'm not engaged. It's up to him. It's done. And if he doesn't come back again, you don't expect too much from me, because he is the genie. He is the genius. He is the brilliant one, and he influences me, and it happens. And they thought that way, they believed that way, they functioned that way until the great Renaissance. And when the Renaissance came along, they switched everything, got rid of all the ideas about God were now out of style, regardless of what you called him. No deities, no genies, no genius coming out the wall, no divine influence, no supernatural power. In the Renaissance, they thought that man was the center of the universe and everything evolved around him. And the idea, and it was the birthing and the launching pad for humanism that creativity comes from us, and that no longer did we have a genius. Now the word changes and we are a genius. And we go down this trail of is it having it or am I it? Is it outside or is it inside? I suggest to you, my brothers and sisters, that neither one of them are totally right. That there are no demons that come out of the wall, and that we are not so much the center of the universe that we can at will always be as creative as we would like to be. Because if that were true and we would control the magic, we would do it all the time. We would do it all the time. I wrote my first book. My first book sold 5 million copies. Secret sauce. Stir it up. Do it again. But there are moments that you have that you can't always do again. So it must mean that you are not always in control of the creativity. Or every husband would be at his best and every lover would have, well, everything would be. I forgot where I was for a moment and almost used an inappropriate metaphor to express something that might be of interest to a lot of people, but perhaps this is not the place or the time to delve into the possibilities of what creativity could do for your little life. Wouldn't it be something that a little creativity might set your life on fire? A little creativity. If I could be my creative self, if I could release myself from the encumbrances of normality and ordinariness and step into the supernatural influence and possibilities and proclivities of my genius moments. Shazam. You know when you got to make that presentation at the boardroom and you're nervous and you've been practicing all day, getting ready for it, and you have been excellent before, but then you have not been excellent before, and you don't know which way the cookie is going to crumble this morning, and all the way to work, you are like sucking your lip going, because you're not always sure how that flows. I want to suggest something to you. I think it might be interesting just to spend a few minutes talking about. I want you to go to Exodus 32:14. Exodus 32:14 and Exodus 34:1 and 2. Exodus 32:14 and Exodus 34:1 and 2. Yes, I do use the Bible. Exodus 34:14. When you have it, make some kind of audible sound. Thank you. Grunts, whistles, barking, I'll take anything. Exodus 32, right in the front of the book. Genesis, Exodus. You know? Should not be that difficult to find. Amen. And it says, and the Lord repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. The Lord repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. It means God changed his mind. And Moses turned and went down from the mount. And the 2 tables of the testimony were in his hand. These are the 10 Commandments. The tables were written on both their sides, and on one side and on the other were they written. And the tables were the what? They were the work of God. And the writing was the So the tables were the work of God, and the writings were the writing of God, graven upon the tablet. What Moses was carrying in his hands, he had nothing to do with it all. It wasn't a daemon that did it. It was a deity. It was Jehovah. It was Yahweh. It was Jehovah Sikkenu, Rohi, and Manna. But Moses is carrying work for which he did not authenticate. He did not create. It was done totally outside of him, and God did all the work. And here comes Moses down off the mountain carrying something that is all God and none of him. All God and none of him. All God and none of him. And there are some blessings and moments that we have that are all God and none of us. We don't even know the secret sauce. We don't know where it came from. We don't know how it happened. It doesn't make any sense. We weren't planning on it. We didn't even see it coming. It's just Shazam. And it all comes together, and we get to carry it in like we did it. But it was all God and none of us. I prophesy to you today that this year will be the year that you will carry some things into your life that are all God and none of you. God's going to do the writing. God's going to do the work. God's going to hew out the stone. He's just going to make it happen. You're not going to know where it came from. It's going to be rain without clouds. It's going to be harvest in your life in a supernatural way. There won't be any wind. There won't be any clouds. There won't be any lightning, any thunder. It's just going to be water coming up out of the ground. Dig ditches in your valley. This is going to be all God and none of you. The famine is over. This is all God, not of you. Uncle Lulu didn't do it. Aunt May May didn't do it. Cousin Richard didn't do it. Your rich uncle from California didn't call anybody. It's just going to be all God and none of you. God's going to assume responsibility and be the author and the finisher of our faith. The Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. He which was and is to come, everything in between. To God be the glory for the things he has done. Some things happen in your life, it's just totally God. Totally God. You had nothing to do with it. All when God got through hewing out the stone and then writing on the stone, all Moses had to do was receive it. And I want to know, are you ready to receive? How many are ready to receive from the Creator everything that you need? And Moses received it. And Moses experienced it. And Moses threw it down when he got to the bottom of the mountain and saw what people were doing. And I'm saying to you, don't throw down what God has given you over what you see in people. If I sat down right now and didn't say another word, I have really spoken good today. Don't throw down what God has given you over what you see in people. Don't throw away what God has given you over what you see in people. Let's go on. Exodus 34, 1 and 2. And the Lord said unto Moses, now this is the second time, hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first. And I will write upon these tables the words that were in the first tables which thou breakest. And be ready in the morning and come up in the morning unto the Mount Sinai and present thyself there to me in the top of the... Wait. In the top of the... Wait. Something's different. And the Lord said unto Moses, let's go back because I missed something. Hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first. That's different from the first though. Because the first time, God hewed out the stones and wrote the 10 Commandments. This time, God says, this is going to be collaborative. It's going to be like the first time, but it is going to be collaborative. I want you to do the hewing, and I'm going to do the writing, and we're still going to get it done. And that's what I want to talk to you about this morning, that more times than not, what we end up with when we are creative is collaborative, where we have to do something so that God can do something. God says, I know what I want to write, and I got the finger ready to write it. but I can't write it till you hew out the stone. And it's going to be like I did it all. But I am investing you with the responsibility of collaborating with me on your next moment of creativity. And what I want to talk to you about today is what your responsibilities are and the mindset that you need to be in order to collaborate with God on your next creative moment. There will be some things that happen this year that's all God and none of you, and you won't even know where it came from. But more times than not, God is going to ask certain things of you in order for you to flow into realms of creativity. And if you don't position yourself and get the right mindset and the right attitude and prepare your heart for creativity, then there's going to be a letter that can't be written because you have not done the prerequisite work of hewing out the stone that God wants to do in your life. So what I decided to do is I decided to put together 10 things you need to accomplish in order to model creativity in your life. 10 things you need to accomplish, experience, do, or think like in order to model creativity in your life. And I'm going to unload them on you, and I hope you're ready for them. Because if you will do these 10 things, I can just about guarantee you a collaborative experience with God. Are you with me? Number one, we are getting ready to model creativity. And our model is going to show us how. The first rule is break the rule. You cannot be truly creative until you break the rule. Thank you very much. What do you mean by break the rule? I'm glad you asked. To deliberately remove the barriers, to change the game, to break the habit that blocks your creativity. Are you hearing what I'm saying? To remove the barriers of tradition and habit that are stopping you from having a new life. You're going to have to get rid of the traditions and habits and normalcies that stop you from having a richer, fuller, brighter life. And in order to do that, you have to have the courage to break the rules. Now, I'm not talking about breaking rules about morals or ethics. I'm talking about breaking unspoken rules and barriers that have incarcerated you into living your life where you can't tell for sure, is this Wednesday or Friday? Because your days are so routine that you forget which day it is because you do the same thing all the time until you can't tell one day from the next day. They all look the same to you because you will not break the rules. Creative people are people who break rules. When I came to Dallas and I started pastoring in Dallas and I set this church up and started preaching in this church and I had 1,500 people to join the first Sunday. And within a year, I was up to 10,000 members, and people in the city came out and told me, you can't do that in Dallas. And I said, I didn't know it. And as long as you don't know it, you can do it. But the moment you start knowing what you can't do and what you can't have and what you can't be, that's the moment you are incarcerated to the rules around you. I can't tell you how many pastors tell me, oh, you don't know the spirit of Chicago. You don't know the spirit over here. You don't know New York. You don't know. Anytime you hear people telling you what you don't know, they have bought into the rules and they live within the limits. Right. But if you are really going to do something awesome, you have got to color. I know your first grade teacher's going to hate me for this, but you got to color outside the lines. You got to be prepared to break some rules. You got to be ready to go where other people haven't gone before. You got to be willing to do something that looks wild, that looks crazy, that looks different. You must be a rule breaker. And I hate to shock you, but you are praising a Jesus who was a rule-breaking Jesus. Healing people on the Sabbath day, eating without washing their hands, walking through the fields pulling corn down on holy days. Religious people hated him because he broke the rules. You cannot be a trendsetter if you're always traceable. You've got to be somebody creative enough to break the rules. We had the cotton gin because Eli Whitney broke the rules. Are you hearing what I'm saying? We had the peanut because Booker T. Washington broke the rules. Whenever you break the rules, you find out what else it could be. Have you got some rules around you that define, I'm just not like that. That's just not how I am. My family isn't like that. Oh, it's just not me. I've always been quiet. I've always been loud. Shut up! Break the rules. If you break the rules, your money is on the other side of the rules. Yes, your opportunity is on the other side of the rule. Your husband is on the other side of the rule. You will never get anywhere staying inside of the lines. It's time to break the rule. They don't write books about people who don't break rules. They don't study you in history books if you play by the rules. You got to be able to sit when they're trying to drag you away and stand when they're trying to get you to sit down. You'll never change anything till you break the rule. Ask Rosa Parks about breaking rules. You got to break some rules or you'll never see a change. I want to provoke you to get up off your seat of do nothing and make 2014 the year that you are going to break. Oh, I can't buy a house. Nobody in my family owns any property. Break the rule. Oh, I can't go to college. None of my father didn't go. My mama didn't go. My sister didn't go. Break the rule. These rules are stopping you from discovering what else you can be. How you have defined yourself stops you from exploring yourself. How you have defined yourself stops you from exploring yourself. I couldn't talk in front of people. It was a rule. Standing in front of people made me nervous. When I first started trying to do it, I was shaking so bad that you thought I was sick of palsy. I used to have to come early in the service and have them adjust the microphone, and I put my hands behind my back so that you wouldn't see my hands shaking trying to hold the microphone. But look at what was on the other side. I want to know what is on the other side of your fear. You'll never know. You'll live and get old and die and miss the life that Jesus came to give you simply because you are not willing to break the rules. If I'm talking to somebody, say something to me. Now, let's model creativity once again. Our model says that you need to challenge your perception. And here comes her escort to take her where she has never been before. And it all begins when you challenge your perception. Your perception can block in your creativity. We get used to observing things in a particular way based on our interests, needs, biases, values, and past learning. People with strong perceptual sets are prone to quick decisions and conclusions rather than looking for alternatives. You don't look for alternatives because you think that the way you perceive it is the only way it is. If there were one thing that has destroyed more marriages than anything else, it is that point right there. To think that your perspective is the only way to look at it. It's what limits you from seeking other perceptions of your situation. Yeah. To perceive that you know how your child is stops you from looking any deeper to see them in light of a different perspective. I am saying to you that you need a different perspective on your situation. Because when you get a different perspective on your situation, you get a different perception of how to deal with that situation. Perspective, perception. It depends on my perspective, my perception. The room looks this way if I look over here. But if I get over here and change my perspective, I look at the same room and get a different perception. Wonder if your narrow-minded perspective is affecting your perception of your situation. And I'm challenging you in 2014 to explore looking at it again. Look at it again. Look at the budget again. Go back and stare at it. Lay it all out in front of you and look at it again. Look at your situation. Write it all down and look at it again. There is something else to be seen in what you see. I am challenging your perception. If I can get the idol of your opinion to fall off the throne, you could have a new life in your old house. If you will dethrone your opinion, you could have a new life in your own house. I'm wondering if your perception of your job is making you miserable. Because if I remember correctly, there was a time you were singing about it, happy about it, shouting about it. You're at the same location with the same people. Some of you have even gotten a couple of raises. But because your perception has changed, your perspective of what used to be a blessing now becomes horrible. Have you ever seen people who didn't appreciate you until somebody else wanted you? Keep going. Just sit there. I'm going to teach this till you get it. And all of a sudden, when somebody else comes along and starts paying you some attention, all of a sudden they get a whole different, I once was blind, but now I see. Just something to think about. I got a diagram now I want you to take a look at. And just look at that and tell me. A centerpiece? Somebody said a vase. Somebody said a face. Two faces? You sure it's not a vase? How many see a vase? How many see two faces? How many of you, as you continue to stare at it, you see both? If you continue to stare at your life, what else would you see in it? If you continue to stare at your life, what else would you see in it? If you continue to stare at your child, what else would you see in him? If you continue to stare at your wife, what else would you see in her? If you continue to stare at your finances, what else would you see in it? If you continue to stare at your talent, what else would you see in it? If you continue to stare at your church, what else would you see in it that you haven't seen before? Because I want to tell you right now, somebody else could take your hand and win with it. Somebody else could play the cards you've been dealt with, and they could win with your hand. What do they see in your hand that you don't see? And more importantly, what do they see in you that you don't see in yourself? Because sometimes people have more confidence in you than you have in yourself. Isn't it terrible that you let them see more in you than you see in you? I want to pause just a moment and thank all of my haters. Give me the camera. I want to say how much I appreciate you, because you hated me on a level that I didn't even know I was on. And you hated me so long that I had to go back and stare at myself to see what you saw in me that made you hate me that bad. And I started discovering who I was because you changed my perception. I never knew I was worth the kind of attention you gave me. It was your hating on me that made me go back and stare at myself and say, well, what are they talking about? And I really want to appreciate you, because some kind of way your vehemence with which you fought me made me explore who I was. And I found me because you hated me. Thank you. The antithesis of that is you can meet somebody who loves you more than you love yourself, and you won't receive the love on the level they want to give it because they perceive your value more than you perceive your value. You will sabotage the relationship because you don't feel worthy of being loved like that, and some kind of way you just don't believe them. You just don't believe them. Or maybe you keep giving them things instead of giving them you, because you think the things you give are more valuable than who you are. You need to change your perception. And to all of you who got his or her money and lost them, my money is the cheapest part of me. It is the trash of who I am. You must remember, I made the money. The money didn't make me. So if all you got from me is the cash, you can have the cash, because the cash can't make me. As long as I got me, I can. I wish somebody heard the words that just came out of my... Touch 3 people and say, change your perception. fearfully and marvelously made. I am created in the image of God himself. I am created to be creative. That means I can lose everything I got and get it again. Because if I said let there be once, I can say let there be. Somebody's about to be restored. You're going to get back what the cankerworms and the palmer worms and the locusts ate up. Wow. All you got to do is change your perception. Stop walking around moping and glooming and cursing yourself with your attitude, speaking against yourself, shutting down all positivity and rejecting all love because of the issues of your childhood. You're not a little girl anymore. Change your perception. Oh, I wish I had somebody who could really get this. Let's model some creativity again. Our model is coming to give us point 3. Clear the clutter. And her escort says, well done. Give our model a hand. The clutter are the emotional blocks that stop you from being creative. In writing, it's writer's block. Writer's block. You just can't write for a minute. You just can't think for a minute. I suspect that somebody's life right now is shut down, not by demons, not by witches or warlocks, not by Satan's power. It's the clutter. The clutter that's in your head that's stopping you from being creative. Clutter. That's why David says, he leadeth me beside the still waters. Because in stillness, you can think. In stillness, you can think. But you can't think or create in clutter. So what are we going to clear away? We're going to clear away every item of clutter that's destroying our creativity. Feelings such as anger, fear, anxiety, hate. And sometimes even love can stop you from thinking, can blind your eyes to reality. You can get so obsessed that you can't see what's right in front of you. Somebody throw your hand up and say, Lord, help me clear the clutter. The chronic sources of insecurity that's stopping me from being creative. The thing that I won't do, not because I can't do it, but my nerves stop me from doing it. And consequently, I live my life without it. And pray for God to provide when he's already provided it, but I can't get to it because I held on to the clutter and let the promise go. I kept my insecurity and let my relationship go. I kept my insecurity and let the promotion go. And then cried and asked God to provide something that he had already given. For God said, I'm ready to collaborate with you. I'm going to do this thing with you, but I can't write the letter until you hew out the stone. What do you need to clear this year so that you can be more creative? What do you need to put out of your mind and out of your head and stop thinking about and stop worrying about and stop rehearsing? What is robbing you of your creativity? What clutter in your mind, in your thinking, in your emotions is stopping you from being your highest and best expression of yourself? I'm not asking you to be me. or President Bush or President Obama or the King of Swaziland. I just want you to be the highest and best expression of yourself. And I'm asking you, do you have the faith and the courage to clear the clutter? To challenge, you know what the most disappointing thing in the world is? Is for somebody to lose your love because they would hold their insecurity more than they would hold you. You mean you would rather fight me than fight your insecurity? You would rather drive me away than drive your anger away? And be left alone holding your anger where I used to lay? Wouldn't it have been better to fight the clutter than to miss the opportunity? How many times did you hold on to what you should have let go of and let go of what you should have held on to? I'm teaching on transformative creativity. I'm telling you, you think you're not creative, and I'm saying you are creative, you're just clogged. The pipeline is clogged with what happened to you when you were 5 and what happened to you on your old job. And you're not singing in the choir because when you was in your last church, clear the clutter. Clear the clutter. Clear the clutter. Cast down every idol. Cast down every foe. Now wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. Everybody in here has some clutter. You can't go through life and not have clutter. I'm telling you, you can't go through life and not have pain or vulnerabilities or insecurity or anger or unforgiveness or malice or some kind of drama. Some of you are cluttered up with dead people. Your daddy's dead and you still mad. You are being haunted by a ghost. You're still trying to prove something to your ex-wife who's been married again. She's not even thinking about you. And you're going to drive the car and let her know, I made it. You see, she's not looking out the window. Clear the clutter and enjoy your car. If I'm helping somebody, clap your hands. If you find yourself talking to anybody who's gone through the blessings you have, you're cluttered. If you're sitting back on your lazy boy couch thinking, Helen never thought I'd have a couch like this. This is your year to clear the clutter. Oh yes, I'm gonna step on your toes. So I hope you had a pedicure because I'm gonna wear them out. If you're working out and losing weight so that your ex can see you fine, clear the clutter. Do it for you. Do it for you. Let me talk to somebody. Do it for you. You'd be so much more creative if you did it for you. You got blessings you can't enjoy because you got blessings for spite. And if you would clear the clutter, you could enjoy the couch. But you can't sit on your own couch because all the ghosts are already sitting on it. Let's model some creativity. Our model says, remove the budgetary constraints. All right. Number 4 says, remove the budgetary constraint. And her escort says amen. What do you mean remove the budgetary constraint? I'm glad you asked me that. I'm talking about overcoming limited resources. I'm talking about thinking outside of your budget. I'm going to try it on y'all. I'm talking about dreaming beyond your means. If you think within your budget, you will always be broke. Because no thought escapes the prison of your present situation, you can't get out. It's fine to budget your money, but don't budget your thinking. Because if you budget your thinking, you won't be able to think out of your budget. Did you get that? If you budget your thinking, you won't be able to think outside of your budget. And the reason you've been stuck for 10 years is not that your money couldn't get out, is that your mind couldn't get out. If your mind can get out, then your money can get out. But because your mind is only making $7 an hour, your money is only $7 an hour. If your mind can go beyond where your money is, you can figure out how to get out of where you are. So the way I said it was to remove the budgetary constraint. Creative people don't live their lives by what they can afford. When they see something they want, they become creative about how they're going to get it. They don't, watch this, they don't bring their want to down to where they are. They really believe that because I saw it and I want it, I'm meant to have it. So they believe the dream more than the reality and shatter the reality and walk into the dream. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying? If I had believed my reality, I'd still have 7 members in Montgomery in a city that only had one red light. But even when I was there, I didn't think there. And ultimately, your life goes where your mind goes. But because your mind is living within its budget, you can't think of anything outside of your budget. And after a while, you start talking like your neighbors because your ideas are living within your zip code. But I came to liberate you today. I'm going to carry you out of your neighborhood. If I have to carry you out on my back, I'm going to get your mind out so you can get your career out, so you can get your children out, so you can get yourself out. For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. It's all right to live in the ghetto, but it sure is hell when you think in the ghetto. If you think your way, oh God, if you think your way out, you can get out. Thinking according to your finances. Thinking according to your finances. The only thing you think is nice is at Target. Watch. If you see people who have escaped your budget and you find yourself turning up your nose at them as if it was inappropriate that they should drive or live or wear or go to school or have a degree or be married when you're not, and you start hating on them, the reason you hate on them is that they remind you that there's something beyond where you are. And because you don't have it, you don't think that anybody else should have it. This is how you comfort yourself in the prison, by trying to make me a jailer to your thought life. And to quote a wise lady that I heard, what you think of me is none of my business. What you think of me is none of my business. What you think of me is none of my business. In other words, just because you're willing to keep your mind in that prison, you're not going to drag me into that prison just so you would like me. Just so you would like me? Really? Just so you would like me? Really? 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 You mean you shouldn't go to this church because your friend said you shouldn't go to this church? Really? Your thinking is on a budget. It's not just about money. I'm challenging your ideas of appropriateness. Your ideas of appropriateness are based on what you think and what you can afford. And do you not see that all of these are prisons that stop you from being creative, that drive you back home? I was with Forrest the other day, and a guy said something to him that I haven't said anything about. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Just an off-color remark about he knew him before he came to this church, and he said it in such a way that cast some disparity on it. You know, people will say things that punish you for breaking out. And you have to be unhappy so that you can like me? I don't get to be fed in my soul so I can fit in with you? That means you have made me the inmate and your opinion has become my jailer. Even worse than that is when you jail yourself down because your thoughts are trapped in a budget. Matthew 25. And I didn't write down the number, so I think it's 6, but it may not be. It's in the first few verses. Therefore I say unto you. Yeah, therefore, there it is up on the screen. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life. Jesus said, I don't want you to think about your life, what you're going to eat, what you should drink, nor for your body. Don't even think about what you're going to put on. Is not the life more than meat and the body more than raiment? Take no thought. Somebody say, take no thought. Take no thought. Say it again. Take no thought. Say it again. Now, Jesus is not saying that eating is not important and drinking is not important, your body's not important. He's saying don't let your thoughts be incarcerated by your circumstances. I want you to think beyond your need, or you won't get beyond your need. Number 5, let's model some creativity. Our model says that we need to storm the gates. Storm the gates. And her escort, with his escort, says amen. What do they mean by storm the gates? It's what we would call divergent thinking. It's throwing ideas, idea after idea after idea after idea at your circumstance. Storm the gates with all kinds of ideas about maybe we could do this and maybe we could do that. Maybe I could do that. Maybe if I call Fred, maybe I need to call Sally. Maybe if Sally and Fred got together, we formed a committee. Maybe we formed a committee and got financing from outside. Maybe if we got some finances as a broker, maybe we need a partnership. Storming the gates means throwing all kinds of ideas against the gate until something sticks. And you can't storm the gates if you are going to judge the ideas. So throw everything at it. Wise, smart, foolish, don't have the money, doesn't make any sense, don't even know Fred. Keep throwing things at the gate until it breaks. You're eventually going to think something that gets you outside if you stop judging your thoughts before you threw them at the gate. Throw all of it at the gates. Storm the gates. I don't know who I'm talking to, but you're imprisoned in some area of your life. You're not living your life to the fullest. You're not expressing yourself as you really are. People can't see who you really are. You're trapped in a situation living up to who they think they are, who they think you are rather than who you could be. They've limited you and locked you down, and deep down inside, you've been pacing around like a lion in a cage, hoping that somehow or other you could get out of the gate. And I'm telling you right now to start throwing everything you got. Overtime, undertime, work time, side to time, storm the gates, concepts, creativity, throw everything at it, storm the gates. That's spiritual warfare. That's spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare isn't laying on a rug, foaming on the carpet, beating on the carpet, crying and talking in tongues. Spiritual warfare is throwing everything you can get your hands at your obstacle until you knock it down. Storm the gates. Spiritual warfare is taking the jawbone of an ass and seeing it as a weapon because you can't afford a sword. You say, I can't buy a sword, but I'm going to beat your hips with this bone until... Touch three people and say, storm the gates. Storm the gates, storm the gates, storm them, storm them. This is your year to storm the gates. Storm the gates, storm the gates, storm the gates, storm the gates, storm the gates. Throw ideas until you hit a good idea. Get your mind out the cage and start thinking again. I'm trying to get your mind to get out of that cave where you start storming the gates and get beyond the normal and the ordinary into the spectacular. Maybe you don't have the money for this, and maybe that was a dumb idea, and maybe that didn't work, but if you keep throwing stuff at the gate, after a while you're going to find out, oh, look, there's the law of gravity. Oh, look at that. That's the law of aerodynamics. Oh, look, there's an airplane. Can you imagine how stupid it was for somebody to think that they could fly? How many times they failed before they created the plane? Do you know how many times they fail before they find a cure? But they keep storming the gates. But non-creative people, if they have a failure, they sit down and live with the gate. Well, it must not be the Lord's will. If the Lord meant for me to get out of this, he would have made a way. Who in here is going to storm the gates this year? I want a confessional right now. I want you to shake somebody by the hand and look them in the eye and say, I'm not living in that gate anymore. I don't care what it takes to get out. I'm coming out of that gate. I'm going to storm the gates. 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 I'm going to try this, and then I'm going to try that, and then I'm going to try the other. I'm going to storm the gates. If I have to lay it away, if I have to pay $10 a month, I'm going to storm the gates. I'm going to storm the gates. If I have to volunteer until I get hired on, I'm going to storm the gates. If I have to go back to school part-time, I'm going to storm the gate. But tell every devil and tell every witch, I will not live behind this gate. If the leper said, why sit we here and die? Then surely a healthy man ought to storm the gates. Touch 10 people and tell them storm the gates. Let's model creativity. Give God a praise. Let's model it. Let's model creativity. Let's model it. Let's model creativity. Let's show your kids how creative you can be. Let's show your job how creative you can be. Let's show your church how creative you can be. Slap your neighbor and say, storm the gates. And now our motto says, break your own routine. We're going to break some routines today. We're going to break some routines. You're going to stop being predictable. If I was an assassin, you'd be so easy to kill. You go to work the same way at the same time. You eat at the same restaurant every afternoon. You go back home the same way. You even wear blue on Wednesday. Everybody could kill you. Break your own rules. Get out the box. Do something you've never done before. Go somewhere you've never gone before. Go to a ballet, even if you don't understand it. Go someplace, meet somebody different. Break your own routine. Because in order to be creative, you have to draw inspiration from new sources. And you think you're not creative, but you are creative. You've just exhausted all the inspiration you could get from the routine that you had. See, when you get writer's block, you get writer's block because you're not getting inspiration. You have written about everything you could write about based on the experiences that you have had. And when you get in a new environment and you get new atmosphere, you meet new people and you have new experiences and you become interesting again. You've been keeping the same routine for 20 years. You haven't eaten anything new since you were 7. You don't even know what it tastes like. I don't like that. How do you know? You can't be inspired with new ideas if you are entrenched in old routine. Do you know how many grocery stores there are in Dallas? And you've been going to the same one for 15 years? Do you know there's another restaurant other than the one on your corner? Have you ever considered that your life might be more interesting, or you might meet different kinds of people if you would break your own routine? If you would eat lunch in the park instead of gobbling it in the car? Could it be possible that you're boring? There is nothing. I just thought I'd ask about it. There's nothing as painful as locking up an exciting person in a boring life. After a while, the light goes out in your eyes. You don't talk on the level you could talk because there's nobody to talk to on that level. You don't try anymore because there's nothing in your life that challenges you to stretch. You're not good enough is they're exceptional. So you never get to stretch to your fullest potential because you surrounded yourself with a normalcy that is beneath your mentality. And so I'm challenging you to break your own routine. You say that's a small thing. It doesn't matter. It does matter. New places, new people, new sights, new experiences, new ideas inspire you with creativity. It'll make you redecorate your house. It'll give you an idea about your living room you never had before. It'll give you an idea about your wife you never had. Come on, baby, let's go over here. Where are we going? You say, come on. You've been taking her to the same since y'all was in high school. You sisters gonna pay me for this. I'm gonna help a sister out up in here. I'm gonna get you out of that kitchen at least one day a week. You're gonna see some daylight. This year you're going someplace other than Burger King. I'm gonna help you out. You will not spend your anniversary at Papado's. You going to another. You've been to Papado's so long, you don't even have to look at the menu. Give me a number 5 and an ice. Number 7, we're going to model creativity. Tell somebody, tell them I'm feeling creative. Our model says, number 7 is instinct versus intellect. What do you sense, or where do you sense destiny is pulling you toward? Is your destiny pulling you instinctively to a place for which you feel ill-prepared? When instinct and intellect ride together, give the wheel to instinct. Because instinct is given to guide you to what is meant for you. And intellect only validates the hunch you felt. So you don't want to be guided by the intelligence, because facts doesn't necessarily mean truth. Come on with me. Facts don't always mean truth. You can go to the doctor can give you facts, but you can get on your knees and get some truth that says, by his stripes I am healed. The fact is, anybody who's been through what you've been through should have had a nervous breakdown and lost their mind. The truth is, in spite of everything you've been through, you still are making it by the grace of God. So you don't want to be guided by the facts. You know how many murder cases are solved on a hunch? You know how many creative things are done by instinct? When I wrote my first book, no man had written a book to women about healing before. Nobody would even finance it. I had to finance my own instinct. Because there was no supporting data to validate the feasibility of it working. But because my instinct said this is where you are supposed to be, I put my money on my instincts, and 5 million books later, I'm doing all right. Suppose I would have let my intellect talk down my instinct. This is what I want you to get. Is there something kicking in you? Urging you, nudging you towards something you like to do, something you feel, some urge, some passion, something that you get excited again. Something that when you're 60, when you think about it, you feel like you're 39. Something that when you do it, age doesn't hold you, and you start getting creative impulses. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying. Reach over and touch your neighbor and tell them, this is my year to be creative. This is my year to be creative. This is my year to be creative. Tell your other neighbor, I'm getting out of the box this year. I'm getting ready to go somewhere that you wouldn't expect to see me. I'm getting ready to meet people that I normally don't run with. I'm getting ready to change my routine. I'm getting ready to wear stuff that I used to didn't think was me. I'm going to try some new outfits and some new hairdos and some new places. I'm going to meet some new people. I'm going to study some new hobbies and take on some new careers. And it doesn't even matter whether I'm good at it or not. I'm just going to have the experience so I can talk about it and be more interesting and be in a different circle. I'm going to the golf course whether I can play golf or not. I'm just going to put on the uniform and walk around there and swing the stick and see what happens. Because I'm tired of staying behind the same old gates, listening at the same old people, talking about the same old people. I'm changing barbershops, beauty shops. I'm changing my teeth and my dental work. I'm going to change something this year. I will not live 2014 as if it was 2013. I am going to be creative. All the creative people make some noise. Let's model creativity. I got 3 more and I'm out of here. Are y'all getting anything out of this? Slap somebody and tell them I feel a change coming. I feel a change coming. I feel a change coming. Our next model says that we are to rely on the partnership. And this is where the church has got the edge. Because we are not in the fight by ourselves. We have a partner in God. And so if you will hew out the stone, he will do the writing. If you will press your way and touch the hem of his garment, he will do the healing. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying. Tell them something's about to happen in here. I got a partner. I'm calling for backup. I'm going to do my part so that he can do his part. If I don't do my part, he can't do his part. So I'm going to run out here and I'm going to throw this little rock. I know it don't look like much, Goliath. I know you're laughing at my finances. I know I don't have enough money to pull it down. I know I look small to you. I'm a little boy. All I got is a rock. But I'm going to throw my rock because my partner can't bless me until I do something. He said, whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. So little or not, here comes this rock. And when you throw the rock, God will send the power to make you effective. So here it is, Lord. I'm going to bring my 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. I know it's ridiculous against these 5,000 people. But I'm going to do it anyway because I'm relying on the partnership and I need something creative to happen. And I know that you can't bless what I won't bring. I know that you can't bless what I won't bring. So even though it's just 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread and it looks ridiculous against all of these people, I'm willing to bring it to see if you can bless it. Slap somebody and say, bring it. Whatever it is this year, this is your year to bring it. Bring it on your level. Bring it to the best of your ability. Bring it even if it looks inferior. Bring it even if you have insecurity about it. Bring it even if it's not a degree. Bring it if it's an associate degree. Bring it if it's 2 college courses and a bag of M&Ms. Bring it anyway. Bring it. He can't bless it if you don't bring it. You have a partnership. You're not in this thing by yourself. The Lord is with you to help you, to make you succeed this year. And your partner specializes in taking little things to... Can I go further? Model creativity. Our model says, leave space. And her escort says, leaving space is creating a place for creativity to evolve. He doesn't want to go. Creating a place for creativity to evolve. If everything's finished in the space you're in, if everything's nailed down in the space you're in, you have no room to be creative. Create a space for creativity to evolve. Some of us are imprisoned by jobs, people, or circumstances that do not leave room for creative expression. While no one embraces any more respect for preparedness than I, it is equally important that our preparation doesn't become so idolized that our fraternity to it supersedes our ability to divine input. In other words, your life is so structured, God couldn't get in it with a blowtorch. I was in a staff meeting with Oprah as we prepared to do the life class, and she said it this way to her staff. She said, don't lock it down too tight. She said, because I believe in leaving room for God to walk in the door. She said, every now and then, God just walks in the door. And if everything is locked down real tight, we didn't leave room for him to show up and bless something that we didn't even expect to be blessed the way it was going to be blessed. She said, always leave room for God to walk in the door. Now, I'm telling you, do you have any space for God to walk in the door? Or do you have it all nailed down so tight that you didn't leave space for the exceptional, for the spectacular, for the supernatural? I've seen preachers so tied to their manuscript that they didn't leave space for God to walk in the door. And the Spirit moved on their fifth point, but he couldn't move because they were so busy getting to the sixth point that they didn't leave space for God to walk in the door. Number 10, this is my final one. The 10th way to model creativity. And our model says, acknowledgments. Creativity spawns when you have acknowledgments. In a book, there's a section in a book called Acknowledgments. It's acknowledging all the sources that you drew from to complete the project. If you don't have acknowledgments, you have plagiarism. To suggest that you got there by yourself is to disavow the one who helped you to get there. And in order to be truly creative, you have to be truly thankful. You have to be truly grateful. And you have to acknowledge God, wait a minute, and the people he used. Because you do real good at saying thank you, Jesus, but you don't thank nobody else but him. But always acknowledge, because if you acknowledge people who helped you last time, they will help you again. If you acknowledge that you didn't get here by yourself, then it releases the power of God to operate in your life again. In fact, God said, acknowledge me in all thy ways, and I will direct thy path. If you would acknowledge me for the door that I opened yesterday, if you would acknowledge me for the creativity I gave you last time, if you would acknowledge that the job you got right now, I bless you to have it. If you would acknowledge that I fed you even when you lost your job, if you would acknowledge me for the money I'm paying you now, then I would give you the money you've been praying about. But because you don't acknowledge me on the level you're on, I've given you writer's block. I've stopped up your creativity. You haven't had a great idea in a year. God says, because you don't acknowledge me, I've cut holes in your pocket. Made your money not go far. Because you said you couldn't afford to pay tithes. God said, I cut holes in your pocket because you didn't acknowledge me on the level you were on. And you're praying for me to give you more so that you can plagiarize that too.